Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. I cannot see a thing in these glasses. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Hope your St. Patty's Day is going well as my St. Patty's Day is going. I'm having a great St. Patty's Day. Had an awesome St. Patty's Day weekend. Starting the week off right. Out here in Portland, Oregon. Got the green. I can't see what color it is, but I got the green lights today. Let's go. Thanks so much for joining. If you are tuning in, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream. Every week we hang out live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We talk all things careers and claims. Today we're talking TPAs. What the is a TPA? I know a lot of people watching this are on LinkedIn, the millions of viewers out there. A lot of you probably already know what a TPA is, but I get this question all the time. What's a TPA? What the heck does TPA do? People in insurance, people out of insurance. I didn't know what a TPA was for the first 5 years that I worked in insurance. I worked for a TPA. So I bet there's a few people out there that hear about these old TPAs, wondering what they are, what they do. We're going to break it down today. So if you got questions, pop them in the chat. If you're hanging out, say hello. Love to hear from you. You'll pop up on screen. Otherwise, if you will have a question or want to talk all things careers and claims, don't want your boss to see, we got this little QR code right here that you can scan, or you can head on over to my website, crewtalentgroup.com/office hours, and you can submit questions live and we will talk about them on the show. So we'd love to hear from some job seekers today. I'm going to talk about what TPAs are, what they do, and then I am going to bring up some real life TPAs on the screen here. We're going to actually go through jobs that are available right now. We're going to talk about what they're paying. We're going to talk about the qualifications you need to have them. We're going to look at actual like real life jobs. So if you're a job seeker out there looking for a job at a TPA, drop your info. We can even like find some jobs for you maybe. I don't know. Maybe we can do that today on the pod, on the live stream. Welcome. Hope you're having a good day. If you're tuning in, I am having a fantastic day on St. Patty's Day. I'm looking to find a pot of gold, looking to get lucky somehow. I don't know what that looks like, but we'll figure it out. Got my sunglasses or my Irish glasses on. I seriously cannot see anything. He's on, but I'm gonna keep wearing them because it's St. Patty's Day. Got to spend my weekend at the old Shamrock Run here in Portland, supporting the local run club, Lane 1 PDX. Lane 1. Our fearless leader, Carson, plays 22nd in the half. Shout out, Carson. Had a bunch of other friends that ran in the race. Cheered them on. My wrist is sore from shaking a cowbell for like 2 hours straight. There was over 3,000 runners. Big hill here in Portland, Oregon. Very long uphill battle. Glad I didn't run it. But I was there cheering on. Gave away about 200 pickle shots to some of the runners. Maybe a couple other shots to some runners. Maybe had a couple of those other shots myself. We had a good time. Awesome. Well, let's get started here. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours podcast. Today we're talking all things TPA. So let's get it up here. What in the is a TPA? Let's see. Fancy little graphic here. So shout out if you are tuning in. Feel free to say hello in the comments. Love to hear from you. Love to hear any questions you have about TPAs. Maybe I don't even know. We'll find out together. We'll learn here on this live stream. Also, if you're looking for a job right now, potentially interested in working at a TPA, drop it in the chat or send me a message up here at this QR code. We can kind of talk about jobs, go research some jobs directly for you. see what I would do if I was a job seeker out there right now looking for a job, how I would go find jobs, what I would look at when I'm reading job descriptions, what I would apply to. We're going to go through it all here today. So without further ado, what is a TPA? Put it in the comments if you know what a TPA is, what your definition of a TPA is. Let's talk about it. So TPA, third-party administrator, that's what it stands for, which doesn't really give you a whole lot more information as to what the heck a TPA is. But basically, in the insurance industry, a TPA is someone who's not an insurance provider that provides an insurance program or a claims department. So there's a couple different applications for a TPA. I'm going to talk about mainly the P&C insurance space. There's other spaces too, like health benefits is a big one, that a TPA will administer a company's health benefits program. That's not as much as what I do or what we do here in claims, so that's what we're going to talk about. So basically what a TPA is, maybe we even get some Google Gemini. What the heck is a TPA? Let's get this up on the screen. What the heck is a TPA? A TPA is a company that administers a claims program. So for whatever reason, if a carrier might want to third party it out, or maybe someone self-insures, like let's say for instance Starbucks is self-insured, right? They actually have their own policy for somebody slips and falls, breaks their hip in a Starbucks, someone sues. Typically an insurance provider would then get involved, but Starbucks has their own, so big, they're self-insured. So Starbucks really good at making coffee, not really good at a claims department, right? And so they might hire out a TPA to administer their claims because they are self-insured, right? And so that's one example. Tons of companies are like that, like Uber, self-insured. I think, like, I don't know if Tesla would be considered self-insured, but Tesla has its own insurance policies, so maybe they write insurance policies. A lot of large corporations, self-insured. A lot of small programs too. Like let's say you're a theme park in Nebraska, and an insurance company's writing you a specialized program for your theme parks. You're going to be in a pool with all the other theme parks, and that insurance program might be run through a TPA as compared to them hiring out their own people. So basically it's a third-party claims company that administers a claims program to a carrier or a self-insured, right? And what that means for us recruiters and also job seekers out there in the world is they are people who hire claim representatives, claims adjusters, claims specialists, whatever you might want to call them. They hire claims professionals, which is awesome, and it's a great place to go work. So let's see what Gemini's got here. Go to the little fancy screen share. TPA is one of those acronyms that gets thrown around in dozens of industries. Let's not get confused. Okay, let's do that. What about in the context of P and C? Let's break it down a little bit more. What is a TPA do? Plug and play claims department. Boom. Insurance carrier takes your premium, holds the risk. The TPA is the company actually doing the day-to-day work of managing the claim. Most big insurance companies have their own staff, but they hire TPAs for different reasons. Niche experience, right? Maybe we're in the construction defect space, which is really complicated, really specialized, really important. You want to make sure you're an expert on that because it's millions of dollars at play. So instead of hiring your own experts, you can third party it to a company like GB, Gallagher Bassett, or Sedgwick, or Pop TPA, whoever that might be, and they'll handle those claims for you. Geographic reach, sure. Maybe if you got one person in Maine, it's cheaper to hire a TPA. Surge capacity. We're really big about surge capacity in the cat world, right? Lots of hail coming in this week. Lots of tornadoes last week. So we're starting to see it. So insurance companies will hire TPAs for surge capacity. And then, yeah, self-insured corporations, Walmart, Amazon. They've got so much money, but they don't have insurance expertise. They're really good at selling products, not necessarily insurance. So they save money by being self-insured But when it comes to the actual claims handling, they leave it to the professionals like us here with the St. Patty's Day sunglasses on. We handle those claims for them. I'm not a TPA, but there's some wonderful claims professionals here that work for TPAs. So a TPA handles claims exactly the same as an insurance carrier, right? They pay out, they have authority. A lot of times the money will come not from their pockets, but they'll be the ones that write that check. And so it's a lot of responsibility. So how's that different from an independent adjusting firm? The big differentiator here is who's cutting the checks. When you're an IA firm, you're hiring someone to go out, take a look at a property, do an inspection, write a report, and then typically that report goes back to the desk adjuster, usually working for the carrier or the TPA, and that is the person who has the check writing authority. That actually has, is deciding coverage analysis, all that stuff. So independent adjusters absolutely help with that process. They're a piece in that process, but that's the big differentiator there. Is they don't hold the check a lot of times to actually write the check, to administer the whole program. They're basically doing a piece of the process, a very important piece of that process. But that's the difference between an IA firm and a TPA. Some IA firms have TPAs, some TPA firms are also IA firms, so there's a lot of overlap there, but two pretty distinct different functions. So who are the big TPA players in the world? Let's go back. Fancy screen. So what is a TPA? I covered that. Why wouldn't they just hire? So this week I got a bunch of questions that I get from people about what TPAs are, how they work, and I'm going to go through typical questions about TPAs that I get. If you have other questions, pop them in the chat. Love to hang out. I love it. Trisha, what up? Good to hear from you. My auto software is bleeping out the ass and glass, I guess. Love the glasses. Thank you. Happy St. Patty's Day. Hope you're having a good day. Coffee is not spiked, I promise. Not drinking yet. Maybe later. Maybe you'll have some Irish whiskey. Thanks for joining. Congrats on the new job. I think I saw on LinkedIn. Hope you're having an awesome March, awesome St. Patty's Day. Hope you're staying warm. Actually, I don't know what the Midwest, if the weather's like over there. I don't know. It's beautiful here in Portland today. I'll tell you what. Finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of winter. Rain every day. It's turning into spring finally. Thanks for tuning in. It's freezing. Yeah, I saw good old loss ratios video this morning. They got some snow up in Michigan. I imagine the whole Midwest is getting hit with a system right now. I know Minnesota had some snow last week. It's been a interesting winter. 60 and sunny out here in Portland, Oregon. Just saying. Beautiful Portland, Oregon. Okay, let's keep rocking. Why would someone just hire their own adjusters or have their own internal claims department? I kind of went over this already. If you're Walmart and you're self-insured, it's cheaper for you to be self-insured than it is to use a broker or go out through an insurance program, right? If you're a part of a larger risk pool and you're a large corporation, you're paying premiums based on the worst members of that pool, right? If the store across the street on the same insurance plan as you, it has slip and falls every day because they don't mop their floors, your premiums are paying for that. So if you're a corporation like Walmart, you've got bajillions of dollars, it may behoove you to do a really good job with your risk management plan and then self-insure yourself, because that way you're not paying claims from all those other companies. And then you would then again use a TPA. Since you're Walmart, you're not a claims company. You're a grocer, or you're going to hire out a TPA to kind of do that for it. So that's why companies use TPAs. Sometimes specialized risk, super specialized insurance programs. Maybe you're insuring the scaffolding on construction projects, and you need a super specialized claims department who really understands those types of policies and scaffolding projects. And so those things get really specialized, and that's why people use TPAs. And again, if you're a claims adjuster out there, these are awesome jobs, and a really, really good way to build your resume. Really great place to work, and they pay really good too. So that's some of the reasons why you'd want to work at a TPA. Really cool jobs, awesome opportunities. Sometimes you work at different programs, so you're working claims from all different types of programs. Your TPA might handle Walmart, but they also get those scaffolding projects, and they also get the construction defect projects. So maybe if you've got extra bandwidth, they'll put you on a couple different things. So good way to gain experience, things like that too. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hour podcast. This week we're talking all things TPAs. Oh my goodness. It's like I can't see anything. Oh man. Talking all things TPAs. So let's see what else we got here. What types of jobs are there at TPA? So I want to go through some jobs right now. I want to pull up actual TPAs. I want to go through as if I was someone right now job seeking. I'm looking for my next position, what I would do to look for jobs. And then we're going to go through and actually look at different jobs that are out there right now on the market. Real companies, real jobs. We're going to dissect them. We're going to talk about different qualifications they're asking for. We're going to talk about the job descriptions. We're going to talk about the pay. So if you're tuning in right now, if you're listening and you're looking for a job, I want to hear from you, because maybe I have the next 45 minutes to just help you find a job. I don't know. Maybe we'll just do that. Or if you have questions about a specific type of TPA or a specific type of adjusting job, what type of experience you need, a specific maybe progression of jobs that you're looking to get to someday, let's talk about it. Hit me up. Love to hear from you. We'll go over to our good friend Gemini, and let's just pretend I'm an adjuster out here looking for a job. So what I would do to find jobs, and we're going to keep this again towards TPAs today, talking all things TPAs. So let's just say, I don't know, let's do the old prompt machine. I'm a claims adjuster in Orlando, Florida. I want to look at potential claims positions specifically at TPAs. I have 5 years of property adjusting experience. What can you research 10 TPAs that I should check out? All right. This is what I would do if I was looking for jobs. I don't like Indeed.com. I think it's trash. I would like to go to companies' websites themselves and find the jobs that way. Most every company out there is going to have their most accurate job listings on their website. Sometimes they push them out to other sites like Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, all that stuff. But I like kind of looking I like hearing from the horse's mouth. So yeah, not surprised. Number one, GB Gallagher Bassett, one of the largest global TPAs. They handle everything and anything. They've got some office in Orlando. Boom. So let's check this out. Go on over. We're going to look up Gallagher Bassett careers. Boom. Join our team. Look at all these different companies. Large companies. So we're going to find some jobs. Let's see what Gallagher Bassett is hiring for this week. And if you look at that, look at all these claims adjuster jobs. Boom. Solicitor, I love it. Global company. So let's change this location. We'll go. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Okay. We'll say not one just for the United States. Okay. Okay, well, let's go to claims. Looking at claims roles, Gallagher Bassett, largest TPA, one of the largest TPAs in the United States, maybe globally. Huge employer of claims adjusters, reputable company, great place to work. So let's see what they got. First one, workers' comp. Oh yeah, let's look at a workers' comp job. Why not? Boom. Shout out GB putting your salary ranges on your job descriptions. That's pretty cool. Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. They must have an office there. I've seen a bunch of jobs. They're saying fully remote worker. So if you're a senior workers' comp adjuster in these states, yeah, I think that's in line. Fully remote job. That's pretty sweet. And this is fully benefited. This is not a 1099 position. This is a full-time job. Let's take a look. At GB, we are here when it matters most. Okay, so specific things for this role that are important. Workers' comp. Again, I hang out more in the P&C space, but we dabble in workers' comp, so we like to look at it. We won't spend too much time on this. But yeah, you need a Delaware license. You need to have experience in these specific jurisdictions, especially with workers' comp, and same with like bodily injury positions. A lot of times the laws differ state to state, so you might have like a region or a couple states that you work in, and it's important that you understand those specific laws. Okay, what are they looking for in a candidate? They want you to have indemnity, lost time claims experience. They want you to have experience in these states, and they want you to have this license. My guess is they're probably not going to consider you unless you have these three. Maybe if you worked a bunch in PA but not New Jersey, they'd consider you. But if you don't have any experience in any of these states working workers' comp claims, you're probably not going to have a chance at this job. That's just what I'm reading here. Investigate, evaluate, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what you do. Okay. Think critically. So here's what they want. High school diploma, no college degree. Again, awesome jobs, claims. You do not need a college degree for a lot of these jobs. It's an awesome career. You do need experience. You need training. You need licenses. Yeah, 5 years claims experience. See that a lot. Appropriately licensed, certified in all states in which the claims are handled, knowledge of practices. Boom. So not a whole lot here on this job description. Short and sweet. They're looking for someone who can jump in pretty quickly and understand what they're doing. So it's looking like you need exactly 5 years. No, if you got 3.5 years of workers' comp experience, they might still take a look at you. Seems like this is pretty important to have some experience in these states. Those are probably the claims you're going to be handling. Cool. Let's go back. Let's look at another one. TPA jobs, bodily injury. Here's, I mean, again, we talk about this all the time on this live stream. Types of jobs that are out there right now. A lot of commercial auto positions, bodily injury claims, litigation. This is a 99% of what I'm seeing as a recruiter right now. People come to me and say, Josh, I need help finding somebody. It is commercial auto, complex general liability, construction defect, all different types of general liability claims. It's really hard to find people with that experience. So here's an example. Let's see what they're looking for in terms of qualifications for this position. So again, shout out GB showing salary range on all their positions. Love to see it. Love some salary transparency. It seriously, it makes everybody's life easier. If I want $150,000 and I'm looking at this job post, I'm not wasting the recruiter's time. If they don't put this on here, people don't know. And so you spend all this back and forth, you do 2 interviews only to realize you're not even close in terms of compensation, and it wasted everybody's time. So it's just makes everything easier. And if you're too scared to show your salary ranges, like, why? Okay, let's see. GB, not a whole lot in here. Let's see. So what do they want? Like, same thing. They kind of looks like they kind of just copy and paste this. Minimum 5 years of claims experience, appropriate licensing. Doesn't have a whole lot of information here. So not a really great job description, but it kind of shows, I mean, I guess what they're looking for. So they're looking for someone with commercial auto experience. They're looking for someone with some BI experience. And they're looking for someone who has worked claims in litigation. They say 5 years. That seems to be just kind of their standard. So if you've got 4 years of experience, should you apply for this job if you want it? Absolutely. I definitely think there's probably some wiggle room on that. Appropriate licensing and certification. We don't really know what licenses they need. It's like you have to have a license, probably a designated home state or a home state license, and the ability to get some more licenses, but not a whole lot of information here. But again, this is a job that is out there right now that you can go and apply for. Totally remote. Kind of talk about this on the live stream, but like I'm seeing less and less remote work. But when it is remote work, it's some of these more senior positions where it's harder to find people who don't want to go into an office. People probably have, if you have this experience, let's be real, you probably have a little bit of options on where you want to work, and so it's a competitive market. So yeah, it's a cool job, remote worker. I'd say it's a pretty solid pay range. $95,000 as a claims adjuster, good pay. Obviously that's the top end. We were probably looking at more in the 75 range if we're being real, 80 range, depending on experience. If you got 20 years of experience, you've been doing this for a long time, and you've worked for TPAs before, and you have exactly the experience they're looking for, yeah, they might pay you up kind of more towards the top. And I would imagine too there's probably some bonus structure in here too. Yeah, actual compensation, blah blah blah, top of the competitive salary. Let's talk about some of these other things that are actually pretty cool. Medical, Roth, all your kind of standard, paid parental leave, pretty cool. Education expense reimbursement, huge. If you're working for a TPA and you're in these positions, I'm surprised, honestly, that we don't see AIC right here as like a desired qualification, but you can go get it. Training programs, they've got some really cool benefits. So that's another job. Now let's take a look at a different organization. Let's see what else we got out there. We've done a little bit of GB. Let's take a look at this one. Let's see, mid-senior level. Okay, here we go, getting a little higher in the pay there. Let's see. So this position is an ongoing talent pipeline. So we're actively building a talent pipeline for future opportunities and seeking qualified candidates. So my guess here is this specific job description, commercial general liability adjuster, is probably they have a large account. Like we're talking like a Starbucks or a Home Depot, where they have a line of business where they're managing a large insurance program, a claims program, and they probably have tens, maybe hundreds of adjusters working all the same claims for that particular client, and so they're always hiring qualified people. So do they have a need today? Maybe not, but they have an ongoing need where you know it's a lot of people. And so again, fully remote job, pretty cool. Licenses that are important, look at this. I mean, Texas, Florida, okay, New York, Hawaii, Rhode Island. But just like the three hardest ones to get. I guess no Arizona, but yeah, you have to have some licenses to work this job. They probably get lots of claims in New York and Hawaii, or just enough to make it annoying. Okay, let's see what this person needs. Commercial general liability experience. Again, kind of the same thing. So you can kind of see they kind of just repost this. Doesn't give us a whole lot of information. But again, there's 3 jobs right there that are remote, that looking for people with about 5 years of experience, with solid pay, good benefits, super reputable company. Now let's go check out another company. We've done a GB. Who else should we look at? Let's scroll down here. Let's do Corvell. Workers' Comp, they have a growing P&C presence. Let's check out Corvell. Corvell. Jobs. Careers in risk management. Let's see what we got. Let's view these openings. Games. Workers' comp. Workers' comp. Let's see if we can find something that's not workers' comp. I mean, I went to the workers' comp company's page, so I'm not surprised. But it says, you know, let's see if they've got some more. Maybe some P&C. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. California Senior Liability Claims Specialist. Now, are you seeing a trend that I've been talking about on this live stream for weeks and weeks and weeks? Senior liability roles. Commercial or complex general liability, commercial auto. We're seeing this trend right now. A lot of jobs in this space. Senior liability claims specialists manage mid to complex auto and CGL claims, including bodily injury and property damage. Handles litigated files, works with delegated authority, adhering to company best practices. Remote position. Remote position. More remote jobs. Surprise, surprise. Again, 5 or more experience handling CGL claims, high exposure and litigation, 2 or more experience. Bachelor's degree. Adjuster's license, multi-state, municipality experience is a plus. Corvell uses a market-based approach. So in California, let's say this is 40 an hour. What's 40 an hour annually? About 83. So very similar to what we saw. Let's see, what's 40? Was it 46? Yeah. Basically, same kind of pay bands that we saw for Gallagher Bassett. We're seeing at Corvell too. Shout out Corvell for posting their pay ranges. And then they're saying basically they've got different role types too. So if you have more experience, you might, you know, fit into a different role. If you got less experience, you might fit into a different role. Interesting stuff. Boom. There's another job that you could apply for right now. Remote. They're going to want someone with California specific experience. They're probably going to want someone who's in California, if we're being real. And if you're not in California, you're definitely going to need to have California experience. Let's click on this. Apply with LinkedIn. Where does this take me? Oh. Oh no, I don't want to do this. Okay. Let's look at some more Corvell opportunities. Let's see what else we got over here at Corvell. Loader. Medical case, field case. Again, lots of workers' comp jobs at Corvell. Ooh, let's check this one out. This is kind of fun. Look at this. Okay. This is a role in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to be most likely in office. Let's see, Corvell, North Carolina office. There's the office. There she is. That's where you're gonna go to work. So this is an in-person position. Again, one of the themes we talked about in this live stream is some of the more senior level, advanced claims handling roles. Remote still. Entry level, a lot of them are going to be in office, hybrid. They're going to want you showing up at an office. So it just kind of shows that, again, high school diploma, college degree preferred, not required, and 6 months of service-oriented office experience is preferred, right? And this is an awesome entry-level position. This role is available for both remote and hybrid work arrangements. My guess is they're going to want someone at this office to start, and if you do great work, you're gonna build up into remote. If you've got no experience, you probably want to be in an office anyways to kind of figure out what you're doing, learn people, make friends in your office, and kind of advance, right? So this is a beautiful position for someone who is brand new into claims, looking to get their foot in the door, and then you work at a company where there's so many different opportunities where you could move around. This is not a forever job. This is a work a couple years and then go work as a claims adjuster, go work in risk management, go work in a different line. Or, maybe you do work it for a longer time. But if you're looking to get your foot in the door, this is exactly the type of role that you should be looking at. Hey, again, you're not getting rich off this job, but it's an entry into the field where you can move up and maybe in 4 to 5 years, looking at some of those other jobs that we were just looking at, where you get some experience, get some exposure to commercial general liability lines, get some exposure into commercial auto. But this is going to be a really good way to kind of learn the claims process in a not as stressful environment, not as high stakes environment. You're doing more admin type work. See, I got a comment here, Santush. Hello, thanks for joining. Hope you're having a great St. Paddy's Day. We're talking all things TPA. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream. We talk all things jobs and claims, and today we're talking about jobs at TPAs. So here's a claims assistant job. It's pretty cool. So again, you're looking for a job right now, looking to get your foot in the door, this is a really good example of a job that you could be looking at. A company who's hiring right now, you could apply for. So if you're tuning in, love to hear, are you looking for a job right now? What types of work are you looking for? We can help you find a job right now. The next 20 minutes here on the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream. Love to hear from you in the comments. Happy St. Paddy's Day. Here we go. So that another cool job right now at a TPA. So let's go back to old Gemini. What about TPAs with offices in the Orlando area? Let's say I'm living in Orlando. I don't live in Orlando, but let's say I'm looking for a job in Orlando. NARS apparently has a large office right there. Sedgwick has a large office right there. Gallagher Bassett, Alacrity. So let's go look at NARS. Let's check out NARS. NARS TPA jobs. Let's see what jobs we got at NARS. North American Risk Services, Third-Party Claims Administration. Join our team. Jobs. No jobs. Is this real? Is this for real? No jobs. NARS. Get it together. Come on. What are we doing? Okay, no jobs in NARS, apparently. I'm certain NARS has job openings. They apparently just need to work on their website, but not a good example for the sake of this live stream. Go find someone else, I guess. Sorry, NARS. Okay, Sedgwick. Sedgwick, huge company. Huge company. Let's go take a look at Sedgwick. Sedgwick jobs. Careers at Sedgwick. Join us. Let's join. Workday. I love a good old applicant tracking system. Shout out Workday. Adjusting. And we'll do location. Can we find... Okay. Property desk adjuster, Dallas, Texas. It's 30 days ago, so this is posted a minute. Part-time. Interesting. Interesting. Well, doesn't give us a whole lot. Part-time job. Not a lot of part-time claims roles that I've seen out there. Interesting. Doesn't really say a whole lot. Looking for claims roles in Houston. Let's check out Houston. I'm talking all things TPAs today. There's obviously other claim roles that are out there, but just kind of exploring different TPAs that are out there. What about TPAs with offices in Houston, Texas? Let's check out Houston. Let's find you a job here. Cat roof experience, flood claims. Okay. Charles Taylor. Look up Charles Taylor. Careers at Charles Taylor. This is what I would do if I was looking for a job right now. I'm a recruiter, so I like to stay in the know in terms of what companies are hiring. So I surf job boards constantly to see what people are looking for, what people are paying, what type of experience, what qualifications people need. Let's see, current openings. North American careers here. Okay. So let's say they don't even have Texas on here. That's no fun. Roles that are posted or ghost jobs. Yeah, we see that. Like that role I was just looking at, Sedgwick, been posted for 30 days. Who even knows what that means? Yeah, it's tough out there right now, especially on the property side. It's definitely tough. Okay, let's go back. Let's see more TPAs in Houston. Passive footprint. Roles in Houston. Let's look at Gallagher. Let's go back to Gallagher Bassett. We did some Gallagher Bassett earlier. Got an awesome jobs page. Really good example of kind of what we're looking for. Gallagher Bassett jobs. Search Houston, Texas. Boom. Here's some jobs right here in Houston, Texas. Looks like I just like to see Gallagher Bassett, Houston, Texas office. So they have an office in Texas. Says they have an office right here. I know Houston's massive. Got a HEB right next door. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, they have an office here. Can't really see the street view, but yeah, it looks like there is an office here in Houston. Although looking at these positions, it says remote. Let's take a look. Let's look at this one. Again, shout out GB putting salary ranges on their positions. Fully remote job based out of their Houston, Texas office. Wow, up to $150 a year depending on experience. They must really need some people. Analyzes moderately complex claims in one or more of Gallagher Bassett's specialty claim areas, HOA and D&O. Again, they don't have a whole lot in terms of all of their postings that I've looked at have all said the same thing. They just kind of copy and paste this. So they don't give us a whole lot of info in terms of what the specific hiring manager is looking at. HOA and D&O claims. Let's talk about that. What are HOA and D&O? So this isn't going to be as much of a property. Do I know anybody there? I don't know anybody there specifically, and what I like to do or like recommend to people is try and find who the hiring managers might be and try and connect with them personally. Also, recruiters can be your best friend. They can also be your worst nightmare. Sometimes they'll talk to you, but when you're reaching out to a recruiter online or on LinkedIn or whatever it might be, you know, try and get information, not just like, hey, I applied. They get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications. So try and come at it more of like, hey, I'm looking for these types of jobs. Like, what has your experience been in hiring? What are you looking for? And you'll get a little bit more information than if you just send them a message, say, hey, I applied to this job, because they may have already looked at your resume and said no, they don't want to reach out. They may get hundreds of messages, the same thing. So try and like give a little value, and then try and just get any information that you possibly can. Even if you don't have the skills and experience, it's nice to hear from a recruiter like, hey, this is what we're looking for. Here's why. A lot of companies, you're never going to get that. I know the experience stinks. Us as recruiters, we need to do a better job of communicating that to people. It's hard. There's no excuses, right? That's our job. We need to do this. So try and reach out to recruiters. Try and reach out to hiring managers if you can. You're going to get a lot of nothing back, unfortunately, probably. But if you can get a little information is better than nothing. This is all like HOA, more general liability than less like properties, a little bit more bodily injury. So yeah, you're saying they need workers' comp experience. You probably don't need workers' comp experience specifically for this role, but they probably are looking at bodily injury experience. They probably want you to have a little bit of understanding of general liability claims, things like that. So 2 or more years of experience in applicable specialty areas. They want you to have 2 years of HOA experience. Probably don't have exact experience for this role in terms of like what they're looking for, but you think about like, have you ever handled a property claim at a condo and had to deal with an HOA? And so those are some of the types of things you're going to want to highlight on your resume when you're applying to a job like this. Maybe you don't have that exact experience, but you have some experience looking through a complex, not just an HO6 policy, but a little bit more, or an HO3 policy. I mean, maybe you have some HO6 experience and have dealt with some HOAs, and can kind of talk about that. So it says 5 years of experience here, and then right down below it says 2 or more years of experience. So this would be a good position to maybe look at. You said you've done some stuff already at Gallagher Bassett. So let's do what other TPAs, especially on the property side, have jobs in Houston, Texas. Come on, Gemini, and let's look at Alacrity. I think it's probably what it's going to pop up here. But McLaren's, okay, they got one. McLaren's has an office. Charles Taylor. Vericlaim. Let's check out Vericlaim. Oh, it's just on Sedgwick. Okay. Let's do commercial property, liability property. This might be an interesting one. I've never heard of this company. Thornton and Partners. And again, this is like what I would do. I was looking for a job. Research these companies, research what they do, research where they have offices. It's a full-time job. Job searching is a lot of work. It's not easy. Is this even the right company? No, this is not the right company. Neos. Okay. Jobs. Oh, here we go. All software jobs. TP technical consultant, New Zealand. Disability. Okay. Yeah, it's not PNC. Okay. That's why I haven't heard of them. Let's look at McLaren's. Let's see, McLaren's Houston office. Yep, they've got a job here. They've got an office here in North Houston, it looks like. Or open jobs. Let's see here. Why is it so hard? Okay, location. I'll say Houston. Come on. Okay. This is not a great jobs page. We're trying. But we're working with. So not a whole lot in Houston specifically. They do have an office there, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of jobs in Houston. However, we're starting to see some remote jobs. So let's take a look. Again, here's another kind of admin assistant position supporting the Miami area. They're looking for probably someone in 5 years of office experience. Interesting. I don't actually need that. What else we got? What about claims roles? Latent defects. Casualty adjuster. This is in London. Not a whole lot. Let's look at Alacrity careers. Time. Openings. Okay. Oh, United States. So here's some jobs to potentially look at. Auto reviewer. Not going to get rich doing this, but this is a really good entry into BI, bodily injury, auto repair. This is probably not the best auto repair or bodily injury. Actually, it's more on the physical damage side, it looks like. Talk about it a lot on this live stream. A lot of the positions that we're seeing right now, a lot of the need from carriers, TPAs, and all other types of companies are commercial auto is huge growing space right now, and complex general liability, all types of liability claims. And for both of those, having bodily injury experience is going to be huge right now. And so I'm seeing not as many property jobs as we've kind of seen here. Looking at some of these companies, it's not a whole lot of property damage jobs. Will those jobs come back? Maybe, you know, with catastrophe season coming up here. But it seems like the lower severity claims or the hail claims are being handled a lot differently than they have in the past. And so we're seeing a lot less of need for property adjusters and more need for general liability, bodily injury, kind of these more complex policies. And so if I was an adjuster starting out in my career today, I would be trying to align myself with how do I get those jobs? And maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's 5 years from now, but how do I position myself? Like we've seen a couple of these jobs, the last one we just looked at, $150,000 are willing to pay people. Granted, that's the top end of that pay scale. That's the most experienced, but you can make really good money as a complex general liability adjuster working a desk for a TPA. Let's see. But yeah, we're seeing less. We're seeing some kind of FNOL positions. Again, these are good entry-level positions. If you're brand new getting into claims, have never worked a claim before, a good way to kind of learn the claims process and maybe get promoted or move within a company from there. What else are we seeing here? Subrogation, another really good area to be in. I would, if I was a brand new claims adjuster looking for a job and I'm looking at these positions right here, I would shoot more for like a subrogation position than an FNOL job. I'm gonna be totally frank. A lot of these jobs are not gonna be here in 10 years. These kind of like pick up the phone, answer, you have one task type of thing, and that's what first notice of loss is. It's like policyholders calling in, here's my claim, intake claim information. We're seeing that getting automated. A lot of claim intake now is done online. It has for a long time. And then we're kind of starting to see like the claim robots come in, and these are the types of jobs that we'll see go away. So I would, subrogation claims assistant would be an awesome entry-level position for someone coming in, where you're learning subrogation, which is a huge part of the claims process, especially with like kind of commercial auto or some of these like more advanced positions. You're dealing with subrogation every aspect, and so getting that is like the first thing you're learning would be a really good experience. So yeah, sorry I couldn't find more Houston jobs right away. I'm looking. I'll keep looking, but thanks for joining. Appreciate you popping in the live stream today. Let's see what else. We'll pop back over this screen. What's it like to work at a TPA? That's a question I get quite a bit, and TPAs sometimes kind of get this reputation as kind of being, I don't know what the word is, but like difficult places to work. It's a claims factory, right? And they make money based on how many claims they can handle or the volume. And so you're comparatively to a carrier, I'm not going to say a TPA doesn't care about customer experience. They absolutely do care about the customer experience. They absolutely care about like how you're treating the policyholder. They want those people to have a good experience too. But it's a little more volume driven. It's a little more like they make money based on you handling claims. So if you're an adjuster and you can handle 120 pending count, they're going to want you to handle as many as you want. So it's a little bit more high stress, a little bit faster pace, I would say, than a carrier. But what I will say is, see my reflection. But what I will say is the pay sometimes is higher. I will say from what I've seen, your ceiling at a TPA is oftentimes going to be higher than working for a traditional carrier. Not always the case, but generally speaking, I would say you're going to make a little bit more money at a TPA because claims is how they make money. At a carrier, claims is a service aspect, but they're not profiting from the claims portion. And so pay may be a little bit less. I'm not going to say you can't make more money at a carrier than you could at a TPA. There's some carriers that pay fantastic. But just generally speaking, you'll probably make a little bit more money at a TPA, but it's probably going to be a little bit faster pace. Another thing at a TPA that you're going to find is that a carrier, let's say you got State Farm, they have built a beautiful claims, well, I don't know if it's beautiful, but they built a claims process for their adjusters based on that policy and their workflow, and it's going to run very smoothly. A TPA has a claims system a lot of times, and then they put all their clients into it. So it's not necessarily custom built for that particular client, and so it's going to require a little bit more from the adjusters themselves to like make it work. And so yeah, sometimes the software is a little bit more clunky. It's not going to be as easy. It's not going to be as automated, and it's going to be a little bit more just on you to figure it out, make it happen. And again, partly why get paid a little bit more too. So that's what it's like to work at a TPA. If you work at a TPA, if you've had a job at a TPA, I'd love to hear from you, your experience. If you liked it, if you loved it, if you hated it. I'd love to hear from you. what skills are TPAs looking for in adjusters? Now I kind of just went through some of that, so I won't go super deep into this one, but it depends on the role, it depends on the position, it depends on the TPA, it depends on the program that you're working. A lot of times they're going to want you to have experience handling that similar line of business. A lot of times they're going to want you to have experience in the same kind of jurisdictions that program might be in. So if it's a California workers' comp TPA, I'm going to want you to have some experience in workers' comp. Now, can you get a job at a TPA with little experience? I just showed you some jobs a brand new claims adjuster could get at multiple different TPAs. So the jobs are out there. It's not always going to be the word adjuster at the end of that job title, but subrogation claims assistant or administrator, is a really good entry-level position that can build you a pathway into working claims. Same with there was that administrative position that we looked at in North Carolina. I can't remember the company now, but there are positions out there, even remote ones, that get you a foot in the door. They're not going to get you rich, but it's going to get you a pathway. And one of the things that all these companies that I've looked at just now all talk about continuing education as a benefit for their employees. Go be a subrogation administrative, assistant or whatever that position was called, and get your AIC, get your CPCU, get your ARM. They're paying for it. And so they want to build claims adjusters. They want more people working for them, and that's the pathway. If you're brand new, check it out. Let's see what else we got here on this beautiful St. Patty's Day. We got an hour. We're an hour in. We'll keep going. Why not? I like TPAs. I like talking this stuff. My coffee's not. I got a little bit of coffee left. If you're joining, if you're watching, just know I can't see anything. Okay. Did that one. So this is something I get a lot of times. People are concerned about working for TPAs because they heard that their friend got laid off working for a TPA. And so do layoffs happen at TPAs? Absolutely. Layoffs also happen at carriers. Layoffs happen, unfortunately, in almost every industry. The world's a little volatile right now. So yes, this is something that can happen. If you get a job working a particular account for a TPA, and that TPA, for reasons that you have nothing to do with, lose that account, maybe a different TPA quoted them a cheaper price and their terms up. Boom, you could be out of a job. It happens. Is that a reason not to work at a TPA? Maybe you want to do some research. Maybe you want to try and talk to some people that work on that team to know what it's like. But that can happen at a carrier too. You could work at a carrier in Florida, and all of a sudden that carrier stops writing policies in Florida due to the nature of the industry, and they just want to leave Florida. Well, you might be out of a job. So layoffs happen. It's unfortunate when it does. I would say don't get a job at a TPA because they might lay you off. I would say every industry across the board right now has a potential for layoffs. So it's kind of a risky take at any company. Do some research if that's something that you're concerned about. But, I would say there's very stable jobs. And sometimes they lose one program, they gain two more. And so they just move you to somewhere else. So those are some possibilities too. What about remote jobs? So, we just kind of went through some, right? We went and looked at some TPAs that are hiring people right now. We looked at real jobs that are live and active right now. And so, yeah, there's remote jobs. I would say, again, I would say companies in general are moving back into the office right now. And the jobs that we're seeing that are remote are some of the more advanced niche specialized positions for recruiters or for adjusters. It's not to say you can't get an entry-level remote job, but it's tough. So yes, there's some remote jobs, especially if you've got really solid experience, you've been working for a while. If if you're highly in demand in this job market, you're going to have a better time working remote than if you're entry level, if you're brand new, if you have a couple years of experience. Do TPAs hire independent adjusters? Yeah, sometimes. I would say, in terms of, like, in talking jobs at a TPA, a lot of times the jobs that you're going to find are full-time adjuster positions. Now, does a TPA who has a property claim and an adjuster working that claim need to go have an on-site inspection? Sometimes will they hire a contractor to go look at that? Absolutely. And so I know adjusters that get work directly from TPAs. There's also IA firms that get work directly from TPAs. So if Gallagher Bassett has the slip and fall account, the general liability, premise liability account with Home Depot, they might contract Alacrity. And I'm just making up names right now. I don't actually know if anybody has these accounts or whatever. I'm just making it up. So, but I'm just giving you an example of what it might look like. But yeah, so let's say Gallagher Bassett has Home Depot's account for general premise liability claims, and there's a slip and fall. Sometimes they'll hire out a firm, like Alacrity is our partner firm. We have a deal with them. We send the claim to them. They send an independent adjuster to go out and do a scene inspection, to take some photos, to get camera footage if it's possible, to interview someone who witnessed it, to take pictures of the staircase where the person fell, things like that. So yes, TPAs do hire independent adjusters, sometimes directly. I would say the larger firms like the Sedgwicks, the Gallagher Bassetts, are a lot of times going to use a designated firm. Some of the smaller TPAs might actually just hire it direct out to the independent adjuster. Just depends on the company. You'll also from time to time see like contract type assignments, especially if it's a property account. Let's say Florida Citizens is a really good example, where Florida Citizens, which is like the public carrier, right? All the people in Florida who can't get insurance policies in the traditional marketplace go to Florida Citizens, which is a government-backed insurance policy, insurer of last resort. And so I'm not 100% sure how they internally handle it, but I know they use TPAs when a cat hits. Florida gets hit with a hurricane. They'll contract out TPAs. Sometimes those TPAs will then offer desk assignments as like a contract base, and so it's also a place where you can get contract work. A lot more on the property side and like the homeowners with personal lines property type of accounts. You'll see kind of the independent work in terms of like a desk position being a contract job. A lot of the more specialized TPAs, though, are hiring full-time employees to work their claims because they're long tails. They're not necessarily catastrophe based. So long-winded answer. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It just kind of depends on this particular situation. But yeah, I mean, if you find out that a certain TPA in your area has a specific account handling, commercial property claims, you could get a job or get assignments as an independent adjuster direct from that TPA to go perform property inspections, for sure. Cool. Well, that's what we got. And that's it. Every Tuesday I come here, hang out, an hour and change. We talk all things careers in insurance, try and help people get jobs. Our goal is to help 100 people get jobs in the year 2026. You're joining. If you hung out today on the live stream, appreciate you tuning in. All the millions of viewers, appreciate you being here. We'll be here next Tuesday, and the Tuesday after that, and the Tuesday after that. Next week I will be able to see. Oh my goodness. Whew. I kind of like these glasses though. Yeah, appreciate you tuning in. We'll be here next week. Have a great week. We'll see you then. Drink water.